Hi, everybody. It's Stacy Sobel with Salon Today Conversations. And today I have Rhoda Olsen from Great Clips. Hi, Rhoda. How are you?
Hi, Stacy. I'm great.
You were actually on one of our first webinars that we had with this pandemic, and it was right on the verge of salons shutting down.
Yes.
So it's been a long time, and we've learned a lot since then, right?
We've learned about 10 master's degrees worth of information and knowledge.
So I wanted to recircle back with you and talk about kind of this time. And I know that you were already probably an expert on crisis management, but what has this pandemic taught you and Great Clips about crisis and managing it?
And you're only giving me a half hour? I think that Great Clips prided itself on, we're a franchise organization, Stacy, and we feel like when the franchisees struggle, something happens in their salon with their stylist, we want to provide all the backup we can. So we felt like we had developed a great response to crisis, hurricanes and floods and different situations that may occur in the salons. We have a great dedicated team. We had a crisis line. We were really proud of the foundation that we set, but we never had dealt with almost every salon and every franchisee in a crisis. So you often have geographic areas. So it certainly was a very fast learning experience. And I think some of the things we knew, connection, relationships, trust, just reaching out to people makes such a difference. But boy, we learned a lot.
So you already had this developed for specific crisis, say like a hurricane in a region yes. or something where, but this magnified it.
Yes. Yeah. It magnified it. And also, Stacy, like many organizations, we did a reduction in force. So there was a lot of pressure left on the folks that were here. And so they had to work incredibly hard in every area. So every area had to learn something new. Our marketing department had to learn how to cancel contracts and get money back and stop marketing and start marketing and stop this. And, our facilities and purchasing there, you had to learn how to purchase different products, different equipment, different PPE from different vendors. The landlords, the real estate, we're dealing with different issues related to landlords. Obviously, operations, we're trying to work with the franchisees to get prepared, first of all, to wind down. So you have to have winding down checklists, and then you have to have reopening processes and gathering all the information along the way. Operations and then our education team had to try and go virtual as quickly as they could, because once salons were opening, we couldn't be in training centers. So it was really all hands on deck. And the foundation that we created, which included great communications, caring, kindness, looking at the person first. What do you need? And then going to the salon, the business, those different kinds of things certainly helped in having a frame of mind that our job was to provide absolutely as much support and visibility as we could, and to take as much pressure as we could off the franchisees, the salon owners. So that foundation was there. I think we learned how important communication is, Stacy. Steve Hockett, our CEO, just did an incredible job we did single topic emails. Now, I don't know, Stacy, in the communication world, people would tell you not to bombard someone with single topic emails, but it was really effective because franchisees had one issue. It was an immediate issue. We could respond quickly. We did, Steve and Rob, our president, did weekly question and answer videos. So being out there, being live, all of us reached out to our franchisees and talked to them. We have an elected group of franchisees that we stayed fully engaged with to help guide us and give us information as salons reopen. We used them in the reopening process. So because salons started reopening April 24th all the way to they all aren't open yet, those franchisees that opened early, we leveraged what they learned to share with the system. So those are some of the things we learned. We learned that you can't over communicate. People want to hear, they want to know that you're paying attention. You have to be flexible. Steve would use the word nimble. You have to understand that a decision you made today may be different tomorrow, and you have to accept that and be willing to say, that was a good decision yesterday, not a good decision today. We're moving forward, and we didn't look back. We were willing to say that that's not any longer a good decision and just keep moving forward. So those are some of the highlights, Stacy.
And now tell us how many Great Clips locations there are now and across how many states?
Okay, so right now, we just are at about 4,200 of 4,501 salons reopened. So we have salons open in every state and every province except for New Jersey, parts of Pennsylvania. I may be missing a few others. That other group of salons, Stacy, that aren't open may be in counties that have higher incidence.
Right.
They may be in franchisees organizations where maybe they have 20 salons and they're not opening a couple because they don't have staff, or they're opening salons in groups. So they have the ability to do that. So we think we'll be at about 4,300 by July 4th. And we think that last 200 will be difficult. We think that those are locations that are probably, maybe we're already struggling or had lease issues or have some other dynamics that are affecting their location. So for instance, in Minneapolis, we have several salons that are struggling to reopen because of the unrest here. So there are also some other things that affect those decisions to open those salons. And franchisees want to be ready. They want to be ready. Yeah. So they want to be prepared.
Well, I know for just all owners out there, the hardest part was watching the state government and deciding what the regulations were going to be handed down and then how to adapt and make that. So you're dealing with all states.
Every state, every province in Canada.
So how did you kind of monitor that? And did you come up with suggestions based on the most conservative approach and then let people?
It was really exciting, Stacey. We have a great director of government relations, industry relations, Kim Schottler, and Kim took the lead on that, and she put together a salon mandate document that she updated every Monday and Wednesday, and that document had links to all of the state requirements. Plus, Kim and I were working with the states. We were working ISBN, the International Salon Spa Business Network. Both Kim and I work with, and we leverage that network to also encourage states to look at requirements that we thought were working in other states. We worked with executive directors, but we had we still have a great live link, Stacey. I'd be glad to, I think there probably are several out there where it's updated all the time now, because now those requirements may be changing and reducing. And so that is a live document that we keep updated, that the franchisees rely on, our operations staff rely on. They give them guidance. We also did encourage franchisees, I don't want to say to be as aggressive. We wanted the stylists to feel really safe. So we believe the more that they could do, the better the staff would feel. So many franchisees did whatever they could to make sure that the stylists felt comfortable and safe, and that the customers felt comfortable and safe. But there was quite a range of both the level of cases and the level of fear in the community. And so certainly in Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, it was very different than in the Northeast. So some of those differences affected the requirements. But we did try and work to influence those, both through Great Clips Inc. and our franchisees, and through ISBN. ISBN's also been a great partner and been a great resource to us as we navigate this.
Coming out of, and then we're not out of it for a long time, but coming into the phase where salons are open in almost every place, there's still obviously some counties that are still closed. What do you foresee in the coming months are opportunities that this pandemic provided, and also the challenges that are still down the road?
Boy, that's a loaded question. Let's talk about opportunities. I think that we all believe that we have an opportunity to improve our relationship with our customers by demonstrating the fact that we're still licensed professionals. We know what we're doing. I think we've been able to elevate the industry and the image of the stylist by making sure our customers know that they're already skilled, they're already licensed, they know what they're doing. I think some of the things that we put in place, Stacey, may continue. I mean, we can do more to leverage all the skills that the stylists have in the salon. So I think that's one thing. I think there are things, Stacey, like, not having people in the lobby, that our stylists appreciate not having people watching and waiting and hovering. And so we've used technology better to make sure that customers didn't need to come into the lobby until they were ready for them. And that changed the way the stylist felt. I mean, so there's some things we learned about that environment. I think the challenges have been really dealing with the erratic customer flow. So to begin with, the surges were just unbearable. They're still unbearable in some markets where
Yeah.
the demand is so high, there's just not any way that our technology works, you know, and there would certainly be franchisees and stylists and managers who would say, you need to fix this. And we're going, we can't fix technology for 2 weeks. It's not normal that 30 people are going to hit your app in your location in 30 seconds ever again. So, you know, trying to manage some of the technology overload. And our systems are pretty strong and have great load capability, but there were just some unique things that were occurring. So that was a challenge. I'm trying to schedule properly, trying to make sure that everybody had all the right PPE. Those were certainly challenges. But getting through that first 2 weeks, now the challenge is customer counts have dropped quite a lot. You know, the people that are comfortable going out are already out. And they're going to need a haircut now for another few weeks. And it's not likely. So I think one of the challenges, Stacy, is trying to figure out even how do you invest marketing dollars? You aren't going to market someone out of their home if they don't feel safe. And some of the data we have says that, you know, about 30 to 40% of people are not comfortable going out. So that could mean that you could be down 30 to 40% until those folks decide they want to come out. And so, you know, that's certainly a challenge to figure out how do you market to the folks who are willing and comfortable coming out in a way to get additional frequency, to take advantage of that opportunity. So, you know, that the challenge is not having the customers. The opportunity is we have leveraged technology. We've launched new technology. We've been able to use our technology in a very effective way to communicate restrictions, guidelines, inform customers before they come in the salon. So I think we've taken advantage of having the technology that fits really well for this, and then also improving it even in the course of this. So we did a very significant launch a couple of weeks ago of Ready Next, which is a text add-on to our product. And we were successful in getting that launched early given the pandemic. So I think there are technology opportunities. But the other challenge, Stacy, is staff. I mean, stylists want to feel comfortable, but they're still, you know, if you're in Arizona, Texas, or Florida right now and you're hearing about all the surges, and I looked at the data and there was like 1 death in Arizona the other day. So it's case surge. It's not necessarily, you know, they're doing more testing, but, you know, trying to figure out how to balance that and acknowledge the fear. But certainly staff, stylists, managers, receptionists, you know, their level of fear fluctuates quite a lot. And so we've lost stylists who have said, you know, this job is a lot harder than it was before. I'm not sure that I'm willing to do all of these extra things and feel like I'm at risk going to work every day. So that's been a challenge, Stacy.
Well, and even for the ones that are willing to come back, working with the PPE is challenging and tiring. And some of them have felt they needed to reschedule and do shorter hours because it's exhausting to try and communicate through the mask.
Especially in the warmer climates. And we have a salon community Facebook page, and I love the way the stylists communicate with one another. And sometimes they just say, oh, buck up. Surgeons wear masks 12 hours a day. You'll be all right. But a lot of times they'll just give one another suggestions. And I think those suggestions help because they're coming from them. We aren't saying, well, you have to do this. It's like, you know, change from a cloth mask to a paper mask. You know, there are some masks that even have airflow. They're more expensive, but they're sharing tips with one another. You know, always just when you walk back to take the customer in your chair, just take it off your earlobe, and when you're facing backwards, and just take a deep breath and put it back on. So they're really giving one another some great tips. But the masks, you know, the masks are uncomfortable. And especially in the warm climates, we hear a lot about that. And so some of the nice masks that people had early on, even the nice double layer fabric, they just are not. People, I think, are shifting more to the lightweight paper surgical type masks and some of the decorative masks that they thought might be fun to begin with.
Well, it's different to wear one. It's different to try to communicate with one on.
Yes.
It's very challenging. I've noticed just personally that I didn't realize how much visual clues I got from watching someone speak. And when you can't see the lips move anymore, I'm not hearing people.
Yes. And we certainly deal with both stylists and customers who may be hard of hearing, who also rely on lip reading. So you have to be aware of that. But it is interesting, Stacy, because we are so used to looking at the face and, you know, getting cues. And So it is tougher. It seemed like the first couple of weeks, the customers are so kind, everyone's generous, everyone's excited, and they're grueling days. But then when it falls off, it's more of a down. It's more of a, oh geez, that was awful, and now I'm starting to think about, how much do I want to do this? And I think a lot of those stylists, even if they take a break, will come back because they love the career. But it is a different environment, and making those adjustments long term. There are probably some things that we'll probably do forever.
Now, you guys came up with a really innovative title for a new position in Great Clips called Hair Traffic Controller.
Yes.
So what does the Hair Traffic Controller do?
Oh yeah, it's funny, Stacy, because I was trying to figure out who to give credit for that name, and I couldn't really track it down. We did have a couple of franchisees in Wilmington, James Cummings and Patrick McLaughlin. They got a little bit of airtime on Today and CNN with the Hair Traffic Controller position, and it was just fun because our salons would be so backed up. The hair traffic controller would stand outside with the iPad and greet customers, tell them when they would come in, let them know when their time was up. She'd have to walk around the parking lot knocking on car windows. She'd write down descriptions of what car they were in so they could go back and sit in their car if they didn't want to sit in front of the salon. But she managed the flow in and out of the salon because we couldn't have people in the lobby. There was maybe even a receptionist in the salon, but this person was outside making sure people knew they needed a mask, making sure people understood what the wait time was, making sure people knew what other kind of requirements were going on in the salon and what we had done. So they became it was a fun, vibrant, in most cases, it was a receptionist they had, or in many cases, it may have been a son or a daughter of one of the stylists or franchisees that was willing to take it on because we only needed it for a few weeks. But it was a blast. I mean, the hair traffic controllers loved it. They had so much customer interaction. It was pretty fun, but they really just controlled traffic in and out of the salon because it was a busy, busy time.
Well, my husband goes to Great Clips, and I know I took him for his first appointment, and they had actually not a tent, but the sunblock kind of thing on the beach without the sides.
Yes.
So he did his temperature check and everything outside.
Yes.
And waited there. There were maybe 2 chairs under the tent.
Right.
Distance apart from anybody else to go in. So. Right.
Well, thank him for being a customer. And
I will.
A lot of franchisees put up those easy ups in those warm climates. We felt lucky that we weren't in the middle of winter, but certainly in some of the southern markets, that heat was pretty difficult for customers to be outside. So a lot of times they would go to their cars.
So finally, I wanted to ask you about ISBN. You've been a past president and
Yes.
on the board for a long time. What has been the true value of that sharing? And I know we talk about it in times leading up to this pandemic, but I think it really was amplified.
I do too. And I know, Stacy, you talked to Jason Rappaport from Birds and Emily Brown from Bees, and Debbie Penzone from Penzone Salon Spa, some of our great board members and great members. So the reality is that support of one another, pulling together, sharing our resources, working with you, trying to leverage all the industry connections was just incredible. The ISBN International Salon Spa Business Network really showed its true colors in support of one another. There wasn't any hesitation, Stacy, to share anything and everything we learned. We put it on the website. People would make calls individually and say, now I have this situation. Can you provide me any guidance? Everyone was willing to reach out. In fact, the whole interaction during all of this pandemic really also launched a new idea for ISBN. Edward Logan from Sport Clips really believed that we could leverage all the strength of ISBN by putting together peer groups. We're going to call it Executive Council peer groups. But just knowing how much support we can provide to one another and seeing that live, we're going to put together groups of members, and they'll meet maybe every month, every other month, and continue to communicate and share, because that's really the strength of ISBN. And boy, it came out,
that's great.
Loud. And I'll tell you, Stacy, I laugh because Rob Goggins, our president, got a call from a barber in Atlanta early on, and Rob kept him in his loop, and everything we put together, we shared with him. Anybody who called and wanted support through ISBN, through Great Clips, through Penzone Salons, I can assure you that everyone was helping one another. And I do think that's unique to the industry. And ISBN's a great, Scott Massad has just been, he's been in the president role for the last couple of years from Jean Juarez. I can't ever say that quite right. He's just added such incredible strength to the organization as well. So it's taking advantage of all the talents of both some of the larger chain salons, the independent high-end salons. I mean, everybody works together in the industry. It's a great reality of how that works. And Valerie Tate, our executive director, continues to do a great job. She is on furlough for a couple of months. ISBN's, like a lot of other organizations, we fully intend to ramp back up. But we just have a great foundation and really continue to reach out and support one another.
So those peer groups, are they going to organize around certain topics?
They won't organize around certain topics. We'll put the groups together, Stacy, with kind of a nod to geographic area, competitors, needs, role, and then they will tackle the issues that they want to tackle as a group, not unlike some of the other CEO or executive groups. So we think having an industry-specific group could be really valuable. So we're going to give it a try. Edward's leading that charge, and I think he's had great experience, as I have, with some of the Vistage and other groups, and we think it would be great to leverage those connections to the ongoing connection of those small groups of executives working together. I
love that idea. Well, Rhoda, thank you so much for circling back with us and telling us what you guys have been up to, and it's great to hear. It's great to hear about all the organization behind everything that.
Can I make one final comment? Can I make a final comment, Stacy?
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things I wanted to make sure I said is the value of the relationships that you have. So, you know, we have great relationships at ISBN. Great Clips has great relationships with their franchisees of trust and credibility. But this was also a time when you saw your bankers, lawyers, accountants, vendors, marketing partners. The reality of the strength of those relationships hasn't been more powerful. And I think the people who had not built those relationships learned how important they were. And even, Stacy, I'd even go as far as saying right now, developing a relationship with your health department will provide you strength if you have an issue. But it's the same notion that if you have a relationship, if you work human to human, person who cares to person who cares, I mean, it makes all the difference in the world, because we certainly have had positive COVID cases of stylists. Everyone knows that. I don't need to tell people that. We've had more than that one, and that one ended up very positive because we work with the health department. You know, we basically say, please build a relationship with your health department first. And so that would be my last comment, is take advantage of all those relationships and make sure you're continuing to build new relationships that will help you navigate through this.
Well, and I do think, just on a final note on that, it does spotlight the organization that's behind a salon, because I've been to restaurants and I don't see them being as vigilant as my salon has been about this issue. And I know when working with the health department, if you're a business where like people are shopping, they don't know who's in and out of that store.
Right.
But a salon has records, and it makes it a lot easier for them to track a case.
Yes. So they love the fact that we can tell them exactly who is in the salon in any given time frame, just like that. So that's very helpful.
Well, thank you so much for sharing everything, and I hope that all of our salons are back on their feet soon and doing well.
Thank you, Stacy. You're a wonderful partner. It's been incredible to work with you. Thanks a lot,
so much.
Thank you. Bye.